Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Power of Purification episode. This evening, we're going to explore the magic in cleansing the mind, heart, and soul, and how it can empower you on your sacred living journey. But let me forewarn that this episode is going to be a little woo woo, it's going to be a little esoteric, a little witchy. So, if you're uncomfortable with that type of conversation, you may want to exit now, because we're talking about the power of purification, and that is going to take you tapping into your power, your spiritual power, and using it to manipulate your space. As humans, we're incredibly impressionable. All of our experiences leave impressions on us, whether we want to accept that or not. There is some kind of impact there that affects the way how we behave, that affects the way how we relate to others, to our environment, how we feel. This whole world functions on impressions because everything is interconnected. So after you have had an experience, if you think that it hasn't affected you in some type of way, it doesn't have to be negative. It can be good impressions. It's just that you must know that there are impressions after you've had experiences, whether it's a conversation, a traumatic event, a happy event. All of our experiences leave impressions on us. I actually realized recently the importance of purification. And the more I am exposed to spiritual culture, the more I see that it is a must. If you're a spiritual person, you have to include purification in your spiritual practice. And I mean on a daily, constant basis. But this is not something I think is really spoken about often enough, the ways to be spiritual. We see a lot of spiritual trends, but aren't really told why we should do them, what is the purpose of them, and what the benefits are of them. I like to have a better understanding about the things that I do, why I'm doing it. Okay, sage, it's for cleansing. But how do I actually use it? How does it actually work? So this is what I really want to talk about today, the importance of purification in spiritual practice and everyday life. Because for me, the more I started to do purification, is the more I realized that it was missing from my practice. This is the reason why a lot of things weren't working for me, because I had a lot of blockages and I didn't realize. So I actually started doing meditations without really truly understanding what meditation was and its benefits. But I knew that it was good for me, and I knew that I needed something. I needed some form of practice. And so I decided I was going to try it. It wasn't working for me for a while. And I think because everybody kind of has this understanding of how meditation works. But I think it's different for everyone. And so you kind of have to figure out what works for you, kind of. Anyway, I started doing these random meditations, and I would use Palo Santo to do a sort of cleansing before I start. And so I always had Palo Santo on me, so that at any moment I'm feeling off, I'm feeling whatever emotion that I might be feeling or going through, I can just go into meditation on the spot. These were very short but powerful meditations, and it proved to me to be really effective using the Palo Santo before. So that's when I said to myself, wait a minute. There is something here. There's something about this. So somewhere around that time, I met my partner, who is big on cutting and clearing. And I love that about him, because I would feel that clearance when I go around him. And I also felt really protected in his space. And he uses a lot of different plants. He uses resins like frankincense and myrrh, copal, benzoin. He uses sage, rosemary, thyme. You name it, he uses it. And I also started using eucalyptus a lot more since I met him. Because when we go up to the Blue Mountains, they have a lot of eucalyptus trees up there. So we'd collect the leaves and burn them. He also does a lot of clearance before steaming. And that for me made steaming more of a meditation, a spiritual practice, because I was doing it with intention. So I started using herb a lot more because of that. And I didn't really feel any way about that, honestly. I'm okay with using herb in that way, ceremonially. Through my own meditation experience, and then through this experience of steaming with him, I realized that meditation and purification are connected. And I also realized it when I started reading The Sacred Woman, and I saw that purification was a big part of the practice that she recommended for women to do in the book. I also realized the power of purification through a Japanese meditation book that I have. Truthfully, when you're dealing with spirit, you have to come right. And I've learned this from experience with my ancestors, them feisty. I have to come correct. I've been corrected on so many different occasions in different ways by my ancestors in the way that I do things and even how I approach them and what I'm wearing, how I cover myself, how clean I am. So many different things. Spirit is not a joke. You better come correct. Grateful awareness of the divine leads to the purification of the soul by restoring the ability to perceive the divine in all of one's surroundings. This is one of the greatest gifts of the Shinto tradition, namely the restoration of the capacity to see the good, as it might be stated in Western terms, where it is not at once visible. So purification helps to renew your spirit. We get affected by everything that we experience. And sometimes our experiences can ruin our experience of life. We can dwell on certain experiences because of their impressions. The impressions last on us, right? So purification helps you with removing those impressions so that you can see the beauty in life again. You can see the beauty around you. Now, water is one of the 4 elements, and it is a powerful cleansing element. We all know this. This is not really strange to us. We know that water is cleansing. We use it to bathe. We use it to wash our hands. We use it for cleaning in so many ways, but it's also spiritually cleansing. So one of the ways that you can purify is through spiritual baths. And Sacred Woman is the book that actually introduced me to spiritual baths. Sacred Woman serves to initiate a woman into her sacredness. It's a rites of passage of sorts. So you are required to commit to a period of time to complete 9 gateways that are in the book, and every gateway begins with a spiritual bath. The book states that the spiritual baths are to release all negativity, everything that blocks the free movement of light, love, healing, and peace. I've also experienced spiritual baths through ancestral readings. Now, I've done a reading, I actually did one earlier this year. And so before you go into the reading, you have to do a cleansing at the gate, and it involves water. I think they put Florida water in there. I don't use Florida water. I like to use natural, plant essences for cleansing. I don't really know what is in Florida water exactly, so I prefer not to use those. One thing I agree with Nicole Ray on is that we don't know what the hell is in Florida water, so I don't be using that in my practice at all. But you have to cleanse your spirit first, cleanse what they call your arit or your aura before you go in and get a spiritual cleanse. And it opens you up, it opens up the gateway for your ancestors to come through and speak to you. As I said, You have to come clean when you're dealing with spirit. Now, rivers, beaches, and waterfalls are great sources of purification. And I think Jamaicans know this very well. We already know because we do this a lot. We go to the beach regularly to wash off our heart or cleanse off whatever it is, wash off your crosses, we like to say, right? So we know about this. That's a spiritual cleanse. But each of these water bodies are unique and cleanse in a unique way. A lot of purification takes imagination. So when you are at, say, the river, you want to imagine. You don't even have to use so much imagination because you see the action of the river. It's flowing. So you sit in it, you put your feet in it, you put your hands in it. You can just imagine that the river is cleansing whatever it is energy away from you and carrying it downstream, washing it off, carrying it to the sea or to wherever it goes. But it's just removing that energy from you and it flows down the river. The beach is a different energy, but it's cleansing as well. And you know it's cleansing because when you leave the beach, you go home and you get a nice sleep. You get a really good sleep after leaving the beach. And the next day, you feel renewed. You feel like you get a good start to the week after we go to the beach on a Sunday. It does do a lot of pushing and pulling at the beach. And that's one of the reasons why we feel so energetically drained after we leave the beach. Because it is a push and pull type of energy. The waterfall now, it's like a shower. It is beating whatever it is out of you and washing it off aggressively, washing off whatever it is, washing off that energy. If you really want to feel renewed and cleansed, just sit under a waterfall for a little bit and see if you don't feel like a completely different person when you get off of it. And I really think that we need to start treating visiting these water bodies like a meditation. We should see it as a spiritual practice and complete it. As I said before, purification and meditation goes together. So we should purify and do some meditation. And with meditation, you set intentions. In spiritual practice, you don't just purify and then do nothing after. You have to set an intention after. It's one of the reasons why they tell you, okay, so you sage to clear, and then after you use some Palo Santo to set an intention for whatever it is that you cleared before. So you set a new intention then and bring new energy to whatever it is that you cleared before. So I think it's important that when you go to the beach, a lot of times, knowingly or unknowingly, we go to the beach for a purpose. We go for some healing. We go for a reset. We go for the cleansing, right? But it's important that before we leave, we set some intentions. We set some intentions for the week, for the month, for the year, going forward. It's important that we set intentions because it is a meditation. I used to call going to the beach going to church. That is what it is for me. I don't know about anybody else, but it is definitely which is really interesting because I know a lot of church people that don't go to the beach, don't go to the river. I'm like, how do they live? I could never do that because going to the beach, going to the river, going into nature is such a huge part of my spiritual balance. I cannot understand how they don't do it. And this is what I think is really missing. I'm sorry, I don't mean to shit on Christianity so much, but it's just the truth. Like, there is no real practice for them. You can't just read the Bible. You can't just read. And I say this to even spiritual folks all the time. You can't just read. You have to put things into practice. You have to become what you're saying you are, or what you're saying that you should be or other people should be. You have to live it. You have to walk the talk. So I'm going to close by sharing the purification part of the Shinto meditation, also called the Harai. Let us repeat the words of the Rokon Shoho with careful minds. Although the impure and polluted appears before my eyes, I will not let it blind me. Although it strikes my ears, I will not let it make me deaf. Although my nose senses it, I will not let it deform my soul. Although it enters my mouth, I will not let it destroy my taste for life. Although it touches my body, I will not let it cling to me. Although I may even desire it, I will not let that desire dwell within me. Purified, we become free. Purified, our eyes are opened to the beauty and glory of nature. Purified, our eyes can hear the harmony of the spheres even amid the discord of life. Purified, our sense of fragrance and spirituality is heightened. Purified, our taste can savor the subtle richness of life. Purified, our hands can touch the world in its strength and delicacy. Purified, our minds see and grasp the world as it is. Through these means, we will magnify the purity of our spirits and seek the divine within the human. In case you're wondering, yes, I do have a product for this week, and that's a Sacred Beauty Cleanse. Yes, it is very good because it is a bitter herb, so it's good for the spirit, good for cleansing. In fact, I could have even recommended it last week for shadow work. Bitter herbs are very good for shadow work, but it's also good for cleansing the spirit. In Africa, cerasee is one of the plants that they use in spiritual baths. In India, neem is actually used to beat the devil out of people. So bitter herbs really do have that spiritual cleansing, property to it. So in my bitter cleanse, the Sacred Beauty Cleanse, it's not just about beauty. As I've always said, it's good for cleansing the blood, cleansing the organs, but it's also good for cleansing the spirit as well. It has neem, guaco, cerasee, rice bitters, and bitterwood. It is not just for women. Men can use it as well. As I said, it's a bitter herb cleanse. Go on the website tropicanaturals.com to learn more about the Sacred Beauty Cleanse and the other products that are available there. So that's this week's episode on the power of purification. And next week, as I said before, we're gonna be talking about meditation. It just goes hand in hand. For me to talk about purification this week, it makes sense that we do meditation next week. So if you're interested in learning about what meditation is and how to meditate, the best ways and most effective ways to meditate, then you can tune in for the next episode next week, Tuesday, same time, same place, wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate the podcast, give it a review if you like. You can share it also. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and give it a like as well. These things help with the growth of the channel, So if you want us to grow, if you want me to be doing more of these types of content, I really would encourage you to show your support by subscribing or liking, or both. All right, guys, so give thanks for tuning in this week, and we will link up in the next episode. All right, take care of yourself.